Do you say you want to do things or you say you want to hit big goals and then you don't, or you back off, or you lose your enthusiasm? I know why that is, and I can help you fix it. So let's jump in and let me tell you why my 84-year-old dad fussing at me recently helped me finally hit a goal I was looking towards, and why sometimes setting minimums helps you reach your maximum. Let's jump into this coaching conversation I had with a room full of fitness professionals that are wanting to hit bigger goals and do better in their business, just like you. I read this quote the other day and I thought it was really key. Uh, Dozy, you want to read that out loud?
I read a book in college that talked about burning every single bridge except for the one that led to your greatest desire. I thought my desire is to sing. Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, that's Lana Del Rey. She's an independent musician. And when I saw that quote the other day, I thought, we've given ourselves too many bridges. We've given ourselves too many backstops, too many ways out, too many shortcuts, too many paths. And so I want us to identify in the chat, if you're brave enough, on your paper, if you don't necessarily want to share, private message your team, what is the greatest desire that you have for your business or life right now? Is it to sing like Lana Del Rey? Is it to have a X value franchise? Is it to fund 6 figures in orphanages and adoptions a year as part of your philanthropic efforts? What is the greatest desire? If you've seen The Wizard of Oz, we know that Dorothy's greatest desire was to go back home. And to go back home, she first had to go to see the wizard who was in Oz. So her path was clear the entire time. As a matter of fact, the only time Dorothy and her friends got into trouble or got delayed was when they strayed off the path. So what is the greatest desire? Where is your bridge going? To see the business succeed and my family happy. Yep. Mitchum and Croydon, I like that. I'd like to see it a little more specific. To make a change in people's lives. Haley, I like that. You want to reduce disease, reduce body fat, reduce chronic pain. What do we want to do? Skills says team flow and life freedom. That sounds good. That's a great answer, but we can't measure that. So what can we measure? To feel proud. Jess, that's huge. What numbers make you feel proud? What specific things make you feel proud? 500 plus members. Take a step back, focus on other business endeavors. I love that, Kyle. 500 members is very specific. I'm going to tell you guys a story because of one of my next titles. I'm writing 3 books consecutively right now. One of my next titles is called Make It Matter. And in Make It Matter, I talk about the fact that we're never going to pursue anything wholeheartedly unless it really matters, unless we really give a dang about it, right? So I have, as part of my life story, I have lost half of my body weight. So that I am teeny tiny now. And the reason I say that and let other people say it is because it's a belief that I have to, as somebody who used to be 266 US pounds, I have to continually reinforce to myself that I'm a little person. I'm a tiny person. Well, I also have a tiny body frame. And every time I see somebody like Michelle Obama or somebody with amazing arms, I always think, I should lift heavy things. I want amazing arms. I want to have great arms. I'm going to lift heavy things, right? So I buy the weights. I download the workouts. Does this sound familiar to anybody? All your clients do this, right? Download the workouts. My daughter is a power lifter. My youngest, Lily, who you guys know, is a power lifter. And so I'm like, okay, Lils, create for me a workout. And guess what? I don't ever quite get to it, right? I don't ever quite get to it. Every Thursday for the last few months, I've started taking the day off and spending with my dad, who I mentioned earlier. And 2 weeks ago when we were out, he stumbled a bit and he got mad at me, which is unreasonable because I didn't do anything. But he got mad at me and I said, what are you so upset about, Dad? He said, because what are you going to do if I fall? You can't catch my 200 pounds. There's absolutely nothing you can do. So this girl came home and said, you know what I can do? Type in the chat if you know what I can do. I thought what I can do is get stronger. So all of a sudden, the weights in the corner of my room don't have anything to do with my shoulders or how I look in a tank top or anti-aging or my posture. All of a sudden, the weights in the corner of my room are because my dad said, what are you going to do? How could you help?
Oh Oh my God, Carrie, that was like...
I know, I'm tearing up.
Oh.
So guys, my why, the reason I wanted to lift weights or the reason I wanted to get stronger wasn't strong enough. So maybe the reason some of you, and about 60 of you did not type in the chat what your bridge led to. Maybe you don't know because it's not strong enough, because it's not big enough. It's not meaningful enough. I thought it was enough that I was taking off every Thursday to hang out with my dad. I thought that was wealth. I've told Doza that before. That's wealth to me. Being able to structure my business to spend every Thursday with my daddy so that my mom can go sew with her friends and not worry about him being alone, and taking him to the same cafe every week and spending time with him and doing legal paperwork and all those things that we do. To me, that was what it was about. But when he says to me, "You're not strong enough to lift me," I thought, I'll show you. I'll show you. I can do that. That is something I can change. That is something I can change. And so I do my reps differently. Really difficult to get out of quicksand by yourself. So we're going to play to win. I can promise you, if you watch pro sport, you can tell when a team who has a lead, when they start playing to keep their win. When they start playing not to lose, they start playing a little more defensively, a little more safely. They stop being as aggressive and they beat themselves in their own brain. The team that wins every time, almost every time, is the team that aggressively plays full out to win. Entrepreneurs, we all have this tendency to forget how far we've come. Your clients do this, guys. They forget about that 10 pounds of fat they dropped, and they're frustrated that they're not already in that wedding dress or in that high school pair of jeans or whatever. They're celebrating or grieving their gaps instead of their gains. So let's talk about a recalibration. I love recalibration. What I mean is this. After I lost weight, which by the way was like a 100-year journey, every time I would hit a new spot, I would decide to make it my body's new set point, and I would purposefully plateau for a bit. I would reset the minimum acceptable standard for what I saw on the scale, meaning I have some non-negotiable numbers, non-negotiable number in the bank account, non-negotiable number of time that I spend with my family, and non-negotiable number on the scale. And anytime it would creep up above that, then I would make some adjustments. So how are you resetting your minimum? If I were still happy with what the scale said 3 years ago on a daily basis, I wouldn't be in the shape that I am now. I had to create a new minimum standard for me. So is your minimum 3 sales calls a day? Is your minimum 3 tours a day? 3 trials a day? What is your minimum in a couple of different categories? So it might be presentations wise, it might be outreach or mailers or social posts. What do those minimums look like? And then we celebrate the minimums and then we reset them. And your goal every day is to beat your minimum, Our problem comes and our sabotage comes when we set these monstrous goals and then there's no in between. Like we're either going to make 10 sales calls today, or I'm going to go eat cake and watch Bridgerton season 2 and not do any sales calls. There's like no in between, right? Type yes in the chat if you've ever been in the world of no in between with the cake and the Bridgerton. Your vices may vary. Yes. So that's not healthy. And that's not what you would advise your clients. You would say to your clients, even if you don't have an hour to spend in the gym every day, come in 15 minutes a day. Come do some reps. Come walk through the machines. Let's build up your comfort level with these. Do what you can do and reset your minimums. Yeah. So take your own freaking advice. Type in the chat, I'm taking my own freaking advice. Coach your own self. Guys, sometimes the most effective thing you can do is stand in the mirror and give yourself the advice you would give a client. Could you solve this problem by taking your own advice? Yes. So in that case, here are some examples. I like to set the new minimum. Let's say it's 3 times a week on sales calls, 3 times of sales block appointments. Set the new minimums, meet the minimums, celebrate the minimums, and then raise the minimums. Don't keep them the same. You don't build stronger muscle that way. You have to raise the reps or raise the weights. Personal best record. How many of you know your PBR in some of your categories? PBR, whether it's in running, whether it's on a bike or swimming or lifting. Anybody know their personal best? Type yes in the chat if you have a personal best in one area that you track. Type yes in the chat if you have a personal best. How long have you held that personal best? Type in the chat. How long has that been your personal best? How long? 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? How long has that been your personal best? Why are we still celebrating that personal best? Come on.
That finishes today.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing now? So I'm going to challenge you to set some new minimums so that you can start moving up that personal best. Total transformation invites resistance. Sit with that a second. Total transformation, big changes, huge goals invite resistance. Tiny tweaks inspire habits. So maybe this week I just switched to water. Instead of like, oh, I got to lose so much weight. Oh, I got to get healthy. Oh, I got to cut everything, blah, blah, blah. Maybe this week I just switched to water. Like this week, I'm just going to drink water in addition to what I'm doing, right? Next week, maybe I'm just going to avoid things in a package. I'm just going to avoid. Now in America, that's harder than it is in Australia. Everything's in a package here. Oh my gosh. Celery sticks are even in a package here. It's crazy. Like, I'm just going to avoid things in a package this week, like tiny tweaks. What did you discover as a deeper reason to lift those weights or make more sales calls, or you fill in the blank in your business? Type that in the comments below. Another way to really flip the switch in your brain on achieving those goals is knowing what your guts are, GUTS. Click the video on the screen and go check that out. And I think it will help.